Hello and welcome back here at feelingTERrific. As you can see, we are at the same environment as probably 2 episodes before. It's a really great environment, and I'm very happy that I'm joined today with an inspiring colleague. And I mean, it's not just from my perspective, right? Also, you can decide if he is inspiring or not, but we will see. We have great topics for today, but I don't want to take it away. Over to you, Lukas. Tell us who you are.
Expectations set, I guess. Yeah, so I'm Lukas. I'm solution consultant at ServiceNow, meaning I'm the contact person to provide demos for functionalities and technical expertise at ServiceNow. So that's kind of my responsibility at work. Personally, I'm really in love with sports. I really like to challenge myself. And of course, the most important for me is family.
Yeah. Maybe let's jump right into it with what you mentioned quite in the beginning. You love sports, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how familiar our audience is with your background, probably not that much, but you were very close to become a professional, isn't it? So, I mean, no pressure, right?
But no, I wouldn't say I was close to professional in terms of my talent, maybe about my mentality. So I took every training very serious. So football was something that I really fell in love with very, very early. So my very first word was actually ball in my life.
Okay.
So I was always inspired by having or seeing a ball rolling, and that never changed. I never had any periods during also my teenage age that I was gaming. I just needed a ball to play football. And I think I always tried to really exploit the potential. So when I was a teenager, I did not play very high in football, but we always played for the championship. And when I then went to university, I tried to go to a club which was way above, I thought, my capabilities. But I was really eager to learn. I was really eager to get better. And from the thought of maybe I have a chance to train with them to becoming a starter changed just in the preparation period. And I also played at university there. So we were in a university team. So maybe that's what you're referring to. And in 2017, we won the European Championship. So we've been the best university team in 2017. So long answer to a short question. But I really, really enjoyed the process.
Yeah. No, I mean, I can say it, right? I mean, we don't work closely together. However, when we talk about work and stuff, your mindset, your approach to work shines through, right? And I think my point of view, it differentiates with others because what you mentioned or how you described it is that you have this approach that you also challenge yourself in terms of you want to be the best version of yourself and to have the highest impact to dream big, I would also say. I mean, just alone the fact that you reached for a club, your point of view, reached for a club that was above your talent or however you want to call it, right? I mean, the boldness you must have, right? I mean, was it hard for you to make this decision to dream big, to do something that usually somebody wouldn't do?
I would say I'm not afraid of failure. It sounds like a buzzword, but I made a lot of things, not only in football or at sports, that I was just jumping into the cold water. But I think it's really important to not overthink everything and just trying it out. And I think often I had to make 2 steps back before I made 3 ahead. But I think that was something that I experienced a lot. Those step backs, okay, this was maybe not the best try, but at least I tried and I learned out of it. I think that was something that's really important in my life, and I'm not too much hesitating for new challenges.
Yeah. How hard was it for you? I mean, I'm wondering, right? I mean, taking 2 steps back to go free or moving free forward, from a mind perspective, mental perspective, right? was it hard for you? I mean, how did you tackle those situations?
I just do them. So um, I'm just laughing about because I thought about my very first demonstration. So as a solution consultant, I have to do demonstrations. So nowadays it can happen that I make presentations in front of 100 people, but back then when I had my very first demonstration, it was actually internal just to my manager. And I was sweating all over the place. I was stumbling.
That describes my situation at the moment. So,
and I really felt after this presentation, this was horrible. And I asked my manager, and he agreed that it really was horrible. But it was okay. I knew, okay, so I have to work on it. And I asked for transparency. Tell me, what do I need to be do better? So I need to be more relaxed, right? So sweating is maybe not helping, but also being better prepared, what you're going to say, what you want to show, and just getting to know yourself better by doing mistakes.
what part does the ability to self-reflect play then in the whole process? And I mean, not just when it comes to getting prepared for talks or presentations, right? But overall for situations that might seem to you at first uncomfortable.
Let me quote Simon Sinek here. He said, the best workers are always the ones who are eager to learn constantly. You never learn out. And I think it's very, very important to listen, to reflect yourself, to be critical with yourself, not too critical, also be confident. But even though you did a good presentation, even though you did a good demo, or you did something very well with the team, it's important to also think about, well, what potentially I might be able to exploit. What can I do better? Where can I improve? Where can I improve? Maybe also the organization or the team. So I think you never learn out. Quite frankly, honestly, I'm still a young professional, right? I don't want to now reflect myself as super experienced, but I think you make the big jumps if you constantly question yourself, what can I do better?
Yeah. I mean, for example, when I think about it, right, it at least to me it seems, or it appears, quite overwhelming. With having the thought, I mean, I'm totally with you, right? So having the mindset of constantly learning, growing, taking learning opportunities, failing fast, at all the good stuff, right? But I mean, objectively and in theory, right? But the thing is, you have to practice it as well, right? So I'm wondering, do you have kind of a ritual for that? Or is it just a mind perspective, so mindset approach? Or do you have kind of a structure in your thought process? Or is it coming naturally? Or how is it going?
I actually realized if I don't prepare too much, it's going way better. So when...
Okay, question. How much did you prepare for today?
I did not prepare. But the first presentations, I had written down everything. And then I realized while I was talking, oh, I missed this part of the sentence. And maybe this was not so very well. And while I was presenting, I had other thoughts in my mind. And I think it's very important to, especially in our job, to mirror to the audience also a fantasy that you are going to... Authenticity.
Yeah.
Thank you. To be credible, that they are going to believe what you're going to say, that you're not just saying something that you learned by heart, that you really mean it. And if things come natural, if things are coming out of authenticity, then I think it's something that's also easier, right? It's easier to be yourself.
Yeah. Maybe let's stick with authenticity for quite a while. I mean, the thing is, again, for example, on YouTube, there are a lot of videos like how you should act, how you should be the person in certain situations and stuff, right? When you self-reflect, and you also mentioned, correct me if I'm wrong, but that you are trying to be authentic. What do you think, which role did this ability play in your career so far, in your journey, in your adventure? What impact did it have?
Well, if we talk about careers, well, which perspective do you see in terms of for my manager, in terms of the customers that I was interacting with?
Maybe, yeah, I mean, those as well, but maybe more from a personal development kind of view.
I think authenticity is also about not only showing that you have done something natural, but also I think it's showing transparently vulnerability to your manager. Meaning that I'm very, very transparent with my manager in terms of if a presentation, demonstration, collaboration has not been very good, if I have, in my point of view, failed, if I have done something not so good. And I think that's a big value for my manager as well, because he knows that if something goes in the right way or not, and also that he knows if I say or tell him like I've done something great, then he's also even more convinced that it might has been not too bad. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
I think this is something that helps very much of being authentic and of being very transparent to your manager. And at the end, of course, you need to perform, but your manager and the manager's managers are deciding if you're going to get promoted, if you get the next opportunity to work for bigger customers, for bigger challenges, for bigger projects. So I think the relationship with your manager is crucial. And for me, it was helping very much to be authentic, to show vulnerability, especially. Yeah.
Yeah. You also just mentioned collaboration, right?
Yeah.
So during your football journey
Yeah.
of the road to become a professional, I mean, there you also must work in a team, right? So there needs to be trust, right? So that you can rely on each other, but also communication. When it comes to that, I mean, what values do you have, or what does a good collaboration mean to you? And how did your past help you in becoming almost close to your ideal collaboration?
That's a tough one. So first of all, I believe in trust is speed. So if you have trust in somebody, you're going to tell the person more likely, I don't know. I don't have the expertise, or can you help me? Right. So if you have this trust capability to someone, you're easier to show also vulnerability, easier to show like how can we work on this, right? So to be more transparent. And based on this, I think this is first of all a good foundation. And on the other hand side, I think empathy is a very, very important topic if you work in a team, as you need to know what are the strengths of my team members. How can I position them best? How can we create synergies best? As well as also, if they trust you, they're also going to tell them what are your weaknesses? What are my weaknesses? So what should we not position into the spotlight? And I think this is something very crucial. So for me, trust is speed, and also empathy.
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned great points, right?
Thank you.
That's why I invited him. But did it come easy to you having this perspective, or is it an evolution, and maybe if it has been, or if it is a evolution, can you say that there was a moment that changed everything, or?
No. So evolution sounds like a glorification. I would actually call it trial and error. So I think with doing hundreds of presentations and demonstrations, I really get into this experience of what is good, what is working not so well. So there were times where I was just focusing on myself and present, and I realized I need to take more attention to the team. I need to take more attention to the team's capabilities and strengths, right? And there were times where we collaborated as team very well. So it's really a balance that you need to figure out. And for me, it was really trial and error. So I had a lot of failures, and step by step I got bigger. But there was not this one big. I had so many big failures. So learning out of them. Yeah.
No, that's interesting. What we haven't talked about yet. How did you come to the software industry at all?
Actually, by coincidence. So I was completely lost after graduation from school, and I was always, as I said, in love with football. So I thought maybe I'm going to go and engage with football and work there for a football club. But actually, I did not have any idea what. Just I want to be with a football club. And then I did an internship actually there, and I met a manager, and he told me, maybe, what about studying? And I said, well, I saw this studying career for mechanical engineering and economics. And he said, yeah, that's it. You need to do that. And I felt like, okay. And another colleague of mine also did it. And I felt like, yeah, maybe if we do it together, it can be fun. And this manager of this internship told me, you always can get back to sport, but if you do something like this, it's going to really it's going to be a good step in your career to have an open world for you. And then I realized during that time that football is great, the game is great, but the industry behind it is not matching so much to my strengths, to my capabilities, what I'm striving for in terms of change of development as me as personality. So when I did my master's, I did an internship with an IT company, IBM. Of course, was also very well known. And I realized, yes, this is the dynamic that I want to be in. There is, with ServiceNow, growing 30% of employees in 1 year. New roles defined, new challenges. The product is incredible developing. So at any point of time, there are new opportunities. It's really, really rising. So this is something that's really exciting me. And again, it's a lot of like cold water to jump in, which I really like. So that's great.
Yeah, but outside of your comfort zone, personal development happens, right? So it should underline your character.
It is actually kind of a buzzword, right? So being out of your comfort zone is really developing yourself. But I really start off I start off enjoying it in going out of my comfort zone. So this feeling that I get, I just told you before we started the recording that I don't get nervous anymore when I present in front of 100 people. So I asked now our marketing manager if I'm able to speak at the World Forum, where there are thousands of people. So to develop the excitement again, right? So it's something that's really triggering me to do things like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So in the next World Forum, Lukas will be there.
Let's see. I don't know if our marketing manager is listening to it, but make it happen.
Yeah. No, I mean, you just mentioned it, right? ServiceNow is just one example, right? But for example, in this ecosystem, a lot is happening, fast-paced, and new roles will be created that we probably don't know of yet, and so forth. I mean, when I think back, when I was coming out of school, totally overwhelming in terms of, okay, what possibilities are there for me, right? What areas can I go and so forth? So demystifying the tech world, right? I mean, solution consulting, did you hear of that role before? I mean, it seems that you like it, but was it also in the beginning? I mean, but for example, when you saw the job description, right? I mean, job description job descriptions are almost every time kind of relative. At the end, it's always a different thing up to a certain extent. But how was it for you?
Yeah, so this is the story. When I was 5, I felt like I want to be a solution consultant.
Might be true
No.
for a professional soccer player.
No, it's true. Like I wanted to be a firefighter when I was 5, and a football pro, probably both at the same time when I was 5. And even when I was studying at the beginning, I did not really know what a solution consulting is doing. And till today, I would say so that solution consultants are not solution consultants, depending on for which product are you active, what is your background, for which product also, even at ServiceNow, are you presenting. And what I realized is I really like to work with people. So HR is the area that I want to be in. And I want to excite people with the solution that's going to help them to make their lives better, their organization more productive. And I love that feeling if I go into a room and you present the solution and it's really jaw-dropping for them. That's it. This is really what I want. And it's not about me being in the spotlight. Like I sometimes have presentations where people said, you're from ServiceNow. So today we saw this great presentation. This is really nice UI and the end-to-end processes are great. I said, yeah, I did that presentation. Oh, it was you. So I really like to be in the spot on present or being in presenting for putting something on the spot, not about myself. So the idea of exciting people, that was something with a solution for people. That was like the main thing that really was driving me to also join ServiceNow.
Let's tackle another interesting perspective, right? I mean, with your background playing soccer and so forth, leadership is also something that comes on top of my mind. Not just working as a team, communication, collaboration, etc., trust and so forth, but also leadership. I don't know if you have been a captain or not, but at least for me, it doesn't matter. Would you agree with that? Would you go with that? And how does leadership play a part in your role of being successful? And maybe also, I mean, you scratched a little bit already, but what does success mean for you personally?
It's an intense question. So in regards of being a captain, yes, and now and then in some football teams I've been captain, but I think regardless if you are defined as captain or if you have at football like something around your arm, or at work if you call the manager or not, you really should take ownership and responsibility for the topics that you have in your description as a role. So I would say, yes, it's very important also to be your own leader. But I think that also is something that I would count into my strengths. So I definitely do like that. Take responsibility, take pressure. And then again, so this is where the circle now also come. I don't know how the saying in English is, but if somebody is working my team and you really feel this person is brilliant in A, but in B, in terms of taking responsibility or taking pressure, is not, then give that leadership, that responsibility or pressure to me, and the person can focus on the other topic that the person is brilliant on. But in general, I think it's very important to take on ownership and responsibility for each topic that is actually in your job description. Yeah.
I think it's a very empowering thought, because it's a real gift when a leader, be it with a title or not, has the ability to see where the strengths are of the people and putting them in the positions that they can be the best version of themselves, right? I mean, yeah. For example, saying that somebody has to do something just that he or she is doing that, but she or he is not happy and not adding the value he or she can bring, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I think as already mentioned, strengths is really, really, I think, key. Know what you're good at, and there's a reason why you're good at it. So often people say, well, I have a weakness there, I need to work on it. I don't agree too much with it. Maybe if it's super crucial and we're talking about, well, your weakness is expenses, right? And you don't deliver them on time. Okay, we need to talk about this. But really, I believe in what are your strengths and then focus on them to get even better in them, because there's a reason why those are your strengths and there's a reason why they are your weaknesses, because you're not tend to like them, you're not tend to do them. So why working very hard on your weaknesses, whereas you can also focus on your strength? And it actually starts with your job description. So decide for a job that you think you can really exploit your strengths and not where you have to work a lot on your weaknesses.
Yeah, maybe my last question, as we're also close to the end of our conversation. I'm wondering, I mean, what came out of this conversation so far for me is that you have kind of that you like to grow, that you are working on your personal development, and that you want to achieve things, whatever they might be, right? I mean, do you have a framework for that? How are you making sure that you are keeping yourself on track and up to a certain extent when it comes to personal development? Or is it something that you are thinking of from now and then?
No, I would say I have a very, very clear plan of what I want to achieve, and also a very clear plan how to express that to my manager. So in our organization, as you might know, we have this, how's it called, personal growth development conversation.
Quarterly growth conversation.
Yeah, quarterly growth conversation. So I come into this conversation always with a presentation where I have a clear overview of what do I need to make better, which goals that we have set and how did I achieve them, and then where do I want to go, and then ask my manager, what do I need to do in his perspective to get there. So I would say there is a clear career path, or of course there needs to be some flexibility, but a clear career path that I define what I want to achieve to put me in the best possible position for the next quarter, for the next year, for the next 2 years. So I would say, I don't have a 10-year plan actually, but I would say for short term and midterm, I'm very aligned. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think having something like that is a game changer when it comes to personal development? And maybe also what kind of impact does alone this PowerPoint presentation has on your mind?
So there are various aspects. So first of all, I think it's very important that your manager is going to have an asset that's scalable for his manager. So whenever his manager is going to ask him, well, he should be promoted, and asks why, then my manager can say, wait a minute, I have a presentation here. And then for the relationship to my manager, I'm not only showing him, hey, I'm in control, I'm in the driver's seat, but I'm also showing him, hey, I'm eager to learn and to grow. And we have written down something on how can I develop for the future. And of course, my manager, I also make it to my manager's problem then, or to my manager's challenge, because I say, I want to be promoted in the next year. Tell me what to do. And if we're going to then write down something, I can tell 1 year later to my manager, well, so what about the promotion then, right? I achieved those goals. Of course, it's all about performance. You need to also achieve those goals, right? And you need to align that those goals are also achievable. So, yeah. And I think that puts me in a very good position to argue about, well, don't talk about experience or duration for a specific time, because this is normally the main argument. Well, you're just in this role 1 year, you're just in this role 2 years. Maybe you'd have to bit patiency. And I think time is never an argument. If you take the responsibility for a specific role, there is a possibility also to get promoted.
Yeah. We will watch the space, not just for the next promotion, but also for knowledge, right? So, so Lucas, what we have here on Feeling Terrific is that a previous guest asks a question, the next one, and obviously he or she doesn't know who will be the next one. So here it goes. If you would have to have a microphone, and with this microphone, you could reach every person on this planet, what would you ask?
I talked so much about failure. So what about asking the next person, what was your best failure you've ever had in your life? So a failure that you are happy about, that it actually happened, and you learned so much out of it that it actually gave you a boost.
We will see. We will watch the space also here. But thank you, Lukas, for your time. Really appreciate it. And over to you for the last words.
So I guess thank you for having me. We're recording this on a Friday, so I wish you a nice weekend. But it was a pleasure to exchange, and I guess we're going to see each other on Monday.